This is Sarah Leslie with Go All In, helping entrepreneurs live the life they want to live right now, making the money they want to make the way they want to make it, while also living a rich and full life outside of their business. True personal freedom. Let's go. Hi, everybody. So glad to be here with you. And I'm so glad that you are here with me. If you haven't already listened to part one of this podcast, definitely I encourage you to listen to it. You can listen to one and not the other for sure. And also, I don't know, why would you, I guess? Because they're both distinctly different and distinctly important in a different way. Okay. And they're motivated from one of my masterclasses. I typically hold a masterclass the third week of the month. And a couple months ago, I added in an additional masterclass, very specifically focused for a handful of newer coaches that I have been in conversation with for several months now. And I realized there was like a gap here that I wasn't talking about or directly addressing. And I found myself being able to address it. And so I decided to put it together as a masterclass. And now I'm bringing it to you as a podcast. So I don't normally tape my masterclasses for distribution. The way that I distribute is by repurposing them here as a podcast. So this is technically part 2 on creating consistent cash flow. And today we're going to really focus in on 3 top strategies three top strategies to focus on, to be able to achieve that consistent cash flow in your business. We're going to look at why they're important, how they're different from traditional business advice, why they're important, and then how to actually go and implement them. So as always, I want to encourage you to set an intention. Why are you here? Right? If you love the podcast, I'm so glad you're here. And also, I want you to always set an intention for why you're choosing to listen to this podcast, okay? So that you can get that met by the end of this 30, 40 minutes together. It's one of the most powerful tools in personal growth and transformation work and inner work, whatever you're calling it. But the most easeful way to literally change the results that you're getting is by simply setting an incredibly intentional decision. I will get X by the end of this 30 minutes. So if you need to pause it, definitely set an intention. Okay, let's dive in. So I think it's important to think about for just a moment, right? Traditional business wisdom. There are a whole bunch of things that traditional business wisdom would tell you for how to create consistent cash flow, right? Some of the things that I just think about, for sure, it's not what makes the money, are things like your website, having business cards, having the right wording for your offer, or the right wording or understanding of your client avatar, or the right wording, messaging, way of saying what it is that you do, or explaining your process, or what platform you're on, or the name of your Facebook group, or even having a Facebook group, okay? And yet I see this time and time again. I was literally just at lunch with someone where we're having this very conversation. And she's like, oh my gosh, but that's everything that's out there is telling you to get more clear on who it is you want to work with and what it is you're actually providing for them. And just to be clear, I'm not saying not to do that work. Okay. Definitely not saying not to do that work. I would definitely encourage you to not go overboard with that work. For sure. In the first 2 years of my journey in entrepreneurship, that was all consuming, because that was the coaching that I was getting and the marketing wisdom that I was getting. And what I have since learned from several high-level mentors who have been doing this work and success in their business for many, many years, that those are not the things that actually immediately were making money. And they're also not the core things that make money, because behind all of that is some other very key important ingredients that start with who you're being in your business and just in the world, right? How you're seeing yourself and how you're seeing yourself in the world, and in your business as a business owner who is offering a very specific service to other people. Okay. And I go like very in depth in a mini series that I have here on the podcast, starting with Leader Energy. I believe it's podcast number 5, where I go in great depth about what that means to show up in leader energy, to show up as a business owner who's fully embodied, conscious, aware of themselves, and managing their own internal dramas and dialogue that takes them off course. So I would absolutely encourage you to go back to listen to that one for sure. And I'm going to dive into those things. So you're not going to have heard these things in traditional business wisdom and traditional business coaching. And I'm really talking about how to create what you want. And this podcast is dialed in on specifically creating consistent cash flow. So I'm just going from like, a bigger topic of how to create anything that you want. And I'm looking at this very specific subsect, which is creating money. Okay. So I'm also dialing it in even more specifically to creating money in your business, since we're really here talking about entrepreneurship, and the principles are coming from how to create money. So that being said, I want to also give you the context and the cautionary warning as you're hearing some of these things. And again, we're going to dial in on 3. And even inside of those 3, chances are your mind is going to want to serve up some thoughts, right? The conditioning inside of you, the quote programs that you've been operating off of thus far, which is your conditioning, which is your current way of knowing how to make money, how to work inside of your business. And so chances are there's going to be another part of you that's like in conflict with the part of you that's like, oh, this is so good, or, oh, I really needed to hear this. Excuse me, I just had lunch. Or, oh, there's like so much really good stuff here. So just notice how that happens, right? And if it doesn't, and you're just like, this is amazing, this is all in, this is exactly what I needed to hear, then you're in the right place, and that's awesome, right? Book an appointment. And if you're not, totally normal. That's what I would expect. So chances are you're going to experience what I talked about in the part 1, which is this internal conflict that comes up when we're learning something new and we like what we're hearing, but it doesn't totally register. It doesn't totally fit. And the reason it's not 100% just like, yes, this is it, I got to go do it, is because it's coming into conflict with some of the ways that you currently think. And specifically for here, the ways that you currently think about making money. Okay, that's all that's happening. And that's the thing that happens anytime where you're not just like, yes, I'm going to go do that. It's because there's a conflict that's being created from your old thinking and this new way of looking at something. Okay, so that being said, know that's going to happen. Stick with it. You know, one of the ways I like to talk about it is if you're here with me, it's because you're desiring to go on what is most commonly known as the road less traveled. And some other ways I like to talk about it is the path that is more easeful, and also like thinking about the rest of life, right? Wanting to be more in the rest and the ease. That's why you're here. So there are 2 main ways to create money, the easy way and the hard way, just to like make it super simple. And I'm talking about the easier way. Okay. So it's obviously going to be different from traditional business advice or business coaching that you would get. So the top 3 things that I have like taken all of my studies and research over the past 25 years. These are the 3 top ones when it comes specifically to needing to create cash flow in your business at whatever place you are. Doesn't matter how much money you're making. These are the core things. Now, I might talk about them in different language, even on different podcasts. And I'm going to describe each one of these with some detail so that you're really understanding what I'm getting at. The first one I'm going to put out there is clarity of vision. Okay? And that vision needs to be inspired by desire. Ooh, it's so juicy. I love it. So I have always been a person about vision, right? Vision, 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 vision everywhere. And in the last few years, we're in 2024, I have really dived into understanding the difference between feeling like you need something and also like needing it or doing it the right way versus desiring it, really just wanting it, right? From a really delicious place. And so now it's not only clarity of vision, because that's what I used to say. Now it's clarity of vision that is inspired from desire. So where does money actually come from? From desire. Okay. Now, you don't have to have like, quote, good desire to create money. You can actually create it with all different kinds of motivations. Hence, all of the different rich people who maybe you don't want to be like. That's because it's not only from like good desire. It's just the simple way to state that. It just is desire, right? Where there's this like very clear intention. I want this. So again, that can be from that like fearful place, and it can also be from the really juicy, restful, easeful place, which of course is what I'm advocating for you, and that's why you're here. So just know that they can be both ways. And that's where money comes from. It's a decision, right, that says, I want this, right? And it's an adamant declaration. I am creating money. Okay? So it's an urgency. Just like another way to think about it is it's an urgency that comes from that kind of an energy. Okay? There's like a certainty about it. There's a declaration. There's a this is happening kind of an energy behind the statement. Okay? Behind the desire. So you're wanting it for something specific. So it doesn't have to be even anything, again, it doesn't have to be like a good thing, but there's like a very clear reason for creating it. Okay, so it's not just like I want money kind of a thing. It's like, no, I am creating this money because fill in the blank, right? So the path of what I just think about as least resistance, right, is you want to have something in mind that feels like really good for you, like a desire that is going to enhance who you are as a human, and then an energy that says, I absolutely want this. Like this is for me, and an assumption that indicates I am going to have this. This is meant for me. I desire this to happen. Okay. And specifically here, we're talking about the money. Okay. This is the most important thing, because when we don't have this awareness and we don't know that this is like the base of how money gets created, then we're kind of missing the whole thing. And when you're driven to create the money from fear, right, then you're also going in a totally different direction than what I know you really want to be doing. So you want to get into this space within you that is desire, that is this deliciousness of desire. Another way of thinking about this is like a really deep place of belief in yourself, right? So when you have this like clarity of vision, you're actually like seeing it in your mind, and it's almost like unfolding out in front of you. Okay. And it has like the ability to actually create that vision where you can see it in your own mind. And when the vision is clear, you're actually beginning to operate from the vision. So it doesn't feel like far away from you. It feels like it's actually here for you right now, and you're just stepping into it. Does that make sense? So again, right, this is the most important one. And it actually does take a fair amount of work, a fair amount of effort to get to this place. So for myself, I have needed to do a lot of my own inner work and deconstructing of my belief systems to be able to have clarity of vision, because there was so much inside of me that felt shameful and felt fearful, felt like a lack of value in myself, felt a lack of, I can have this, I can have what I want, right? Worthy of having what I want. Versus just easily being able to say it. That took quite a bit of time just to get to that point. Does that make sense? So I don't want you to think that this is just like, oh yeah, I have it. Because I've never met anyone where it was like that. It's more something that emerges as you're doing the inner work, as you're doing this type of work that I help people with in my coaching program, to move out all of the fears, all of the I'm not good enoughs, all of the self-doubt. Emerges this beautiful vision from desire that feels confident and clear and certain, inevitable of its creation. Okay, so good things to ask yourself is to investigate, well, where am I at in this process? Where am I at on number 1 here? How clear are you on your vision? How real does your vision feel? How tangible is it? Is your current vision built on desire or on fear? Okay. How clear are you, for instance, on your current offers? The results that you get people and the belief that you can actually create them. Okay. It's just like a really tangible way to think about desire. Because again, when you have it so certain and inevitable, then you have deep clarity on your offer, the results that you get people, and the belief that you can create those results. So when we're struggling with this part, then the offer isn't clear. The path to creating the results for them isn't clear. We think we can, but we're not certain that we can. We're not sure of our pricing. We feel more unclear of our messaging, like all those things I alluded to earlier. You just feel like more unclear about them than when you're really clear on your vision. Okay. Number 2, self-leadership. Okay. And the way that I define leadership is effectively managing your own energy, which means your thoughts and your feelings. So the things that you're thinking about day to day, minute to minute, and the way that you feel, again, day to day and minute by minute. Self-leadership, your ability to effectively manage your own thoughts, your own energy, your own state of being, which means that you're able to manage feelings like fear, insecurity, self-doubt, lack of appreciation, feeling unvalued, feeling unseen, feeling unheard. And you know what to do with those feelings so that you can shake it off or, get up and do something different or not be bothered by them, where they slow you down and take you out of the continuous creation of results. Does that make sense? So this is really as a business owner, to me, this is the most important thing over everything else that you can do in your business that's good for you in your business, is literally being able to learn how to effectively manage your thoughts, your feelings, your state of being, such that you can continuously get up in the morning and get to work and create amazing results and enjoy your life. It's just that simple. Because when we're not great at effectively managing our own thoughts, our own energy, and we get taken out by self-doubt, by fear, by uncertainty, we could go days where we're not producing in our business. And that, of course, boils over into our personal life, where we go days without feeling good. We probably overeat, or we starve ourselves, or all kinds of things that show up, right? We don't clean the house. We don't take care of ourselves. We maybe go 3 days without showering, all kinds of things. So this must be happening in order for you to show up at 100%, for you to show up amazing, for you to have life circumstances happen, illness and, loss and all these types of things, where you have a place within you to come back to, where you can still do what needs to get done inside of that day. Now, hear me clearly. I'm not saying that you should push through and go ahead and work when you've had like a major loss. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. So what I'm saying is when you've done enough of the inner work and you've flipped over to the land of milk and honey, where you have a whole new paradigm to live inside of, that I also think of as the rest, like living in the rest, where you get to feel easeful, where work feels easeful, where creating money feels easeful. And again, I'm not saying you have no feelings. Of course, you have all these same feelings. You just know what to do with the feelings, and they don't take you out for as long, at least, as they used to. Because now you have a way of understanding them that allows you to engage them so that it doesn't take you out. Okay. And when you're over here, you just know what I mean. And if you're not over here, it's very hard to really understand it. So I'm going to leave it at that as far as explaining it. My encouragement to you for sure is, of course, get into doing the inner work at this degree where you're actually just creating those results for yourself. So energy also, right, is the thing that leads us. So when you spend a lot of time in self-doubt, for instance, the quality of the work that you put out is just going to be less than when you do the work from a place of certainty or place of faith or a place of trust. Okay? So when you strip it all away, energy is the most important thing, managing your own energy, which is your thoughts and your feelings. So you want to invest in developing the skills to be able to continuously get yourself into a really good state of energy. And I'm not talking about being in a high vibe, just to be clear, or that you have to be happy all the time. No, definitely not saying either of those. It's being able to manage yourself, your thoughts, your feelings so that fear doesn't rule you, okay? So that shame doesn't overwhelm you. And when I think of shame, it's feeling not good enough, feeling like an imposter, feeling too tired to do the work because you're full of self-doubt, okay? So spending the time here, right, each day asking yourself things like, how am I feeling today? Where might I be feeling fear today? How much self-doubt am I experiencing right now? What kind of doubt am I having about my offer? Do I have any doubt about my current pricing? These are all just really good questions to ask yourself. Again, at any stage of entrepreneurship, of being a business owner, because these are the things, the roots. This is the core thing that will always be the thing that is slowing you down. It's rarely anything else first that's actually going to slow down movement in your life and in your business. Does that make sense? Okay, so again, everything feels more complicated. Everything feels more confusing. It feels more difficult when we haven't effectively managed lower energy, right? So that's feelings of shame, guilt, sadness, fear, confusion, overwhelm, disappointment. Okay? And when you live inside of those feelings, or you spend a decent amount of time inside of some of those energies, then you're just going to have a harder time getting through the day. Definitely a harder time creating money, definitely a harder time selling, definitely a harder time having conversations about your offer. When you sit down to write content or put out marketing things or write posts, it's going to be harder, and you're going to be creating content that is just filled, those feelings are going to be in that content, not intentionally, of course, it's completely unintentional and unconscious. And it will just show up in your work. That's how this works, okay? So my encouragement here for you to implement immediately, definitely asking yourself those questions on a daily basis. Spend time moving yourself from those different feelings into a more useful feeling, right? A place of trust, a place of faith. The other thing I'm going to say here is keeping it so super simple, right? Keeping your business and your operations so super simple. At any stage of business, dial it down to super simplicity. Stick to the decisions that you've made and only make adjustments to those decisions or to places in your business when you're in a really trusting faith place, instead of when you're in a fearful, uncertain place. So for instance, if you're like, oh my gosh, I really need to make some money, and then you like decide, I'm going to create this offer because it's going to be like, $50 and everybody's going to want to buy it. And like, I really need cash. That's a terrible place to make a decision from. It's a terrible state of energy to be doing really anything from. And so you want to actually, instead of running with that idea, spend time addressing what is really going on here with me. Why am I feeling so fearful about the money coming in? And then move into a place where there's faith and trust again, and then decide, do I actually want to change my offer, or was I just really feeling scared and fearful? Because chances are you were just feeling scared and it's not a good time to change your offer. Chances are your original offer is the thing to continue selling and working from and offering until you're able to make a really intentional business strategic decision to change it. Okay? And again, I'm just talking generally. If you and I were working together, we would like double down. We'd look at all your offers. We'd look at your pricing. We would make really certain very quickly, probably inside of one session, what your offer needs to look like and all of the details related to it and the pricing, more than likely. And it would be like super dialed in and focused so that you would never need to worry, at least for like the next 6 months at least, on your offer or anything related to your offer. It would really be you now freeing up your space and your time to help yourself getting into that faith, trust, energy, more than anything. Okay. Number 3, where does money come from? Okay. We already talked about desire, vision. Money also comes literally from having conversations with other people. So that can be any conversations that are revolving or just what I think about as like in the spectrum of sales activities. Okay. So you could literally be having conversations with them. You could be having conversations over social media. You could be putting out posts. You could be sending out emails. You could be commenting on posts. You could be DMing people. However you want to think about conversations, think about that as like a very broad term for this particular conversation. And that's really at the end of the day where the money comes from, right? It's going to come from another human. Again, I'm looking specifically inside of your business. It's going to come from another human who's going to give you money in exchange for your service, whatever that service might be. So that means you need to be having those conversations with your prospects, okay? And you want to be having those with your, best fit prospects, of course. And so there's just this space where I have found that people tend to avoid sales activities. Now, you might be doing some of the sales activities that I just mentioned, but then only going to a point and not going further. Chances are, if you're not making consistent income or you're not making income that you want to be making, then you're stopping somewhere on the spectrum of sales activities. And, again, I do a free consultation, 60 to 90 minutes, where we dial in, super clear on your vision, super clear on what's actually slowing you down. And this is where I can draw out for you specifically what it is that's stopping you or where you're stopping from actually allowing yourself to make the money you want to be making. Okay. So it's these intentional conversations. Again, you show up in your business with faith and trust energy, leader energy, and you're asking your wisdom, your inner wisdom, what is it I'm meant to be working on today? Who am I meant to be working with right now? Who would you have me reach out to? Who is like in my world that I would just love to make an offer to, right? Again, however your business is set up, you adapt it, this conversation to your business. And then it goes from there where you're having these intentional engagements, okay? And when you're talking with them, right, you want to actually be operating from that space of your business. You're in your business. Why are you in your business? To make money. Okay. I talk about this in a couple of the other podcasts about giving yourself permission, right? This is a huge part of the work that I do with people, is helping them break through the numerous things that keep them from being able just to embrace money as a really delicious, good part of life. Most people have a lot of just crazy limiting understandings of money. It's evil, it's bad, I'm being greedy, like so many different things, okay? And honestly, I think about that as a continuous, ongoing process. That's not like a one and done, you've worked through it kind of a thing. Until you're like really in the flow of money and really in the flow of ease, and I'm talking like making like thousands of dollars flow, you're probably going to hit up on some money beliefs and some things that slow you from making more money. And even then, the only thing keeping you from making more money first is working on your money beliefs. Like that's just how it works. Okay. So some questions for you to be asking to help you implement, right, is how clear are you on your sales process? How clear are you on your sales activities? How often are you engaging in conversation with best fit prospects? Okay. And then also ask yourself, what's really getting in the way of me showing up and doing sales activities? What is it that you're really struggling with when it comes to sales, creating clients that leads to money? Okay. And again, you want to be doing all of these questions and implementation steps from a place of compassion, from love, from ease, from, hey, some of these things are new for you, and like learn them. Give yourself like that space to actually learn these skill sets and learn how to remove the fear and the shame so that it feels easeful, versus using this stuff against you to just increase the amount of shame you feel or increase the amount of bad feelings that you have about yourself or the way you're showing up in your business. Does that make sense? So just in summary, don't use this against yourself. Okay. Those are the 3 top strategies that I believe will make you money. If you literally just focused on these 3 things, you would absolutely start making money or creating more money or having more consistent money in your business. All right. Now I'm going to also just again, right, summarize. I needed help with all 3 of these steps. Okay. And again, I've got now 25 years experience of working with people in this capacity, and I needed help learning these 3. When I got into entrepreneurship several years ago, I needed so much help with these, and I still need help with these areas, which is why I have my own one-on-one coach. So creating the tangible things like your website, your business cards, that's the easy part because it's tangible. And usually you can even get someone else to do it for you. Doing this work, these 3 things that I mentioned, right? Getting clarity of your vision from desire, really getting clear on the desire of removing fear and shame, of having intentional conversations with your prospects and managing your own energy effectively. You can't outsource that. You can definitely hire someone to help you, and I encourage you absolutely do that. And you can't outsource it and you can't bypass it no matter what. If you want to live in the ease and you want making money to feel really delicious, you cannot bypass these steps. I have some really exciting news. If you already listened to part 1, you already heard this. So if you haven't, it's exciting new news for you. I'm going to be launching a new mastermind, super intimate, limited to 5 people who want to get really dialed in on these items that I just talked about with you here, focused on creating consistent cash flow in your business. Now, it's very specifically for coaches of all kinds, whatever title you might use for yourself. If you can fit yourself into the coaching title, then this mastermind was created exactly for you. And your thing right now is I want to be creating consistent cash. I want to have a better understanding of how to create money easily. This program is for you. So I will drop the link here in the show notes for you to be able to see the details of this offer. Send me an email to let me know you want to apply to be in the mastermind starting the first week of August. All right, you guys, that's it for me. Thanks so much for being here with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and all the links that you will need will be here for you in the show notes. Between now and when I see you next, go be extraordinary. Ready to hire your own personal one-to-one mentor to help you take your life and your business to the next level? Go to my website where you can sign up for a no charge, no pressure consultation where we can get to know each other better. I get to hear your vision. I'll help you understand exactly what's getting in your way. And if it feels like a good fit and I believe I can help you, we'll talk about what it looks like to work together.